So welcome back. In today's video, we are going to look at nice concepts called getters and setters. So what are getters and what are setters in Java? Being that we are dealing with an object-oriented programming language, we saw that we have some interesting part called encapsulation, whereby you can protect your data from being accessed outside the class it is defined in. Now we're having two variables in this case. We're having the age and the name, but someone can't access these two outside this class. Someone can only access these two inside this class that it is defined in. So we introduce a new concept, or we introduce something interesting whereby we didn't create these two variables to just sit here. We have to modify them, or we have to use them in other classes. We introduce something called setters and getters. Setters and getters are simply methods. Methods. The setters are used to set the data to these private variables, and the getters are used to retrieve the data. Simply, in the real world example, setters are simply the deposit requests that you make to your bank account, and the getters are simply the withdraw requests that you make to your bank account. So I'm having these two variables. I can come here down. I'll come here up. I'll create a void, being that I already know the data type, int is equal to return age. I make this method public. So you can change this to get age. Simply, this method is going to retrieve the age, being that the age is private, but after making the method public, this to access the age, I can use the get age method that I have created. So when I come here, I'll create a new instance. I'll say human is equal to object new human is. So I can't access this direct, but I can access the method that I've created inside the class that this is defined in. So I'll say object dot, I can access the get age now. So this is a method. So when I try to compile demo dot compile this Java demo Java, compiling or running, you see that I'm able to retrieve the age of my private oh sorry, oh I have to give this I have to give this a new variable. I'll say int age is equal to, so I'll say system.out print in a new line age, do something like this. So compile and run. You see that I'm able to retrieve the 16, but through the getter that I have created. So that's simply how you can retrieve your data from the class, your private variables. So the same thing, I'll do the same thing for the name. Let me say I want to retrieve the name. I'll say public. I'll create another getter to get my name inside the class that it is defined in. But remember the same thing that we have done on Edge. Name is a private. Name has been made private, meaning it can only be accessed in the class it is defined in. So I'll create another getter, get name. This is going to return data type of string, then return. Is it returning? It is returning name. You get. So now to access this, I'll just come down here. I'll say int name is equal to object dot get name, this one here. I'll go into this class, but remember the class, I already have the instance of it up here. Then I'll be able to access the get name, but this is going to return a string and an integer, something like this. So when I say system dot print out new line, print out the name, I can first clear, compile and run. You see that I'm able to retrieve John and his age using these two getters, the ones that I have created. So in order to access the variables inside, you create the getters. Getters are simply the ones that retrieve your data from your private variables. So what if I want to set the data without being that, you can see I have used manual auto-filled it, but what if these are not auto-filled? What if these are coming from outside other classes? What would you do? Now they have introduced another concept called get setters. Simply setters are used to modify or set new data to your private variables. We shall do something again here. You can first comment out these getters. So I'll remain with my object. So I'll come here down. I'll say object dot name object. Let me first create the settings. I'll say come here, public. I'm first set the name is equal to set name. And some of the key concepts to keep note here is that when we are dealing with getters and setters, we use these keywords called set and get. Simply in Java, we have naming conventions. So you have to describe your methods basing on the task it is executing. You can't name this ABCD a weird name. You have to describe your methods basing on the task that it is executing. Now here we are setting a name. So in this case here I'll say return, I'll say int string, we are going to set I will say now let me remove this. Being that I'm setting a name, I will say name, this one, this name here, the variable name is equal to, I'm setting it to a new name. Let me say Jane. Then close this. The same thing, this method must return a result. So I can just make this a void. Being that I'm not going to return anything, I can just make this void, something like this. I'm just setting, I'm not getting, meaning my function is not going to return anything. It is just modifying the data types that I made or my object that I created. So I have successfully created the set name. So when I come here and try to compile and run, I can put this back here. I was retrieving my name. Can compile and run. I'm getting null simply because the get name simply because I'm using this won't be seen anywhere. So what I can do, I can come here down here, I can first remove, I can access the coming string, then this is the name, something like that. I'll use this name, the one that I'm going to set to name, but I can change this variable to, let me say to new name. Yeah, this will make sense. Yeah, So when I come here, I'll call my setter down here. I'll say object dot set. Where is my set? Dot set name, which is a method. I'm setting it to gen, like this. So what does, let me explain this in a minute. I have created my set method. Simply this set method is having access to the variable, this name here, and I'm setting it to this method is going to access a new name. This new name is going to come from down here. So after creating my instance, I called my set name. I gave it the name that it is going to set, or that is going to create. So the name that I have set here, I have received it here. So after receiving it here, I have said name is equal to new name. I'm setting this name to the new name that is incoming from this method, or the new name that I gave, or that I defined after calling the new instance, or after calling this object. So when I compile this, I think this should solve the issue. You see that I'm still getting null. Why? Set name is equal to get name. Something is missing. Okay, yeah, I've seen it. This has to be down. You can't get. I've seen it. You can't set. You can't get something which is not there. So you first set, then you get. Yeah. So when I compile and run, we shall be able to access gen. Yeah, something like that. I'm able to access gen because I have first set gen, then I retrieve the name that I have set. So I'll create another one. Simply this one is going to public void. This one is going to set edge. This is a setter. Edge is equal to new 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 edge, which is of type int. So I'm setting then the edge to the new edge here. This edge that is private in this class, I'm setting it to the incoming edge, or our new edge going to be received, or which is going to come from the set edge method. So when I come here down, I'll say object set edge, which is going to take, let me say, like 15, something like this. So after setting 15, we shall be able to retrieve the edge and the 15 edge here. Then after retrieving the 15, we shall set it to our variable, our private variable inside our object, to the new edge that is incoming. So when I come here down, I can cut this, put it here down, our get edge, then compile and run. Compile and run, you can see that we are able to get the edge and our name simply through setters and getters. So to explain a bit more further, setters are simply retrieving our data from the private variables. Getters are simply retrieving data from our private variables. Then setters are simply setting our data to our private variables. Setters are simply modifying the private variables, and getters are simply getting or retrieving our data from the private variables. So simply, when we are dealing with encapsulation, getters and setters are the ones modifying, or are the ones that we make to have access to the private variables that we created. So I have another interesting thing that I'm going to do. What if this, you are seeing this new keyword, I used it just simply to make it much more easier. So what if I use the same name here? I'll say name name, you'll see that Java is not allowing this. This will work. This will work when I run and compile. Oh, sorry, it won't even work. The name, it won't even work. Why? They are saying the assignment to variable name has no effect. We are going to see something interesting in the coming video. In the coming video, we're going to see this keyword, how we can solve such a thing. So that's it for today. Thank you.